Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Rainy Day Podcast. I am your host, Adrian Rainey. And boy, Miami Dolphins played a little better yesterday, but still come out with an L. We got to talk about it all, man. I got a very special guest today from USA Today's The Dolphin Wire, and of course, the Finn Faithful podcast. Also does Finn's TV with Sammy and the crew. The man, the myth, the legend, Jason Sarney, man. What's going on, brother?
Way too generous of an oversell on that one, my man. But I appreciate you very much, and pleasure being here, Adrian.
For sure, man. I cut promos, bro.
Yo,
But
no, I'll
nah,
take it. I'll take it. It's beautiful.
that's right. That's right, man. First one-on-one with you, man. We done talked a little bit on Finn's TV, man. I'm glad you can join me. It's really an honor to have you. You very well known in the Miami Dolphins community. You write, about the Dolphins. You got the podcast with George, Finn Faithful Pod. Everybody go check it out if you haven't. That is must watch always. And then of course Finn's TV with Sammy. Always love hearing you on that, man. Definitely should be a good one. This one, we're gonna talk about this game, man, and I just want to get your overall take. The Dolphins lose 33-27 against the Patriots. Offense played a little better, defense, but I just want to get your overall takes before we go into the game.
I mean, there were some positives. There were negatives, of course. There was a good 12-second period that I had a lot of confidence that they were going to win the ball game after the Malik Washington punt return for a touchdown. Been 5 years since the Dolphins have even done that. But unfortunately, it's kind of the same old problems, and they are major issues. So you start the season 0-2 when a lot of people were hoping at, God forbid, worst 1-1. The Colts game going back to week 1 was an absolute disaster. And there were moments when you thought that they actually were given a fighter's chance and given a little counterpunch to the league and say, you know what, we're back, we're here. But ultimately, the same bugs kept on biting throughout the game, and turnovers, untimely turnovers, decisions, little tiny mental mistakes that pile up, and you lead to a loss against a team that you won 4 straight games against, and they couldn't get that fifth win in a row. So unfortunate. And yeah, there's going to be some changes soon.
Definitely, I've been banging the table for it. Maybe not changes though. I just let them ride out, man. Let's go ahead and just get this number one pick and start the rebuild for real this time. I think that game from the beginning, the Patriots just going up and down the field. Drake may had 2 touchdowns, I think, in the first quarter. So it's like, all right, what are we doing? Defense is crap in the bed again. Anthony Weaver can't figure it out. Play a little better in the second half, but and like 12 seconds. Boy, I don't think I had not 1 second where I thought we was gonna win that game. Just the way it started. I'm like, even when we started coming back, I'm like, yeah, there's no way. But let's get into the game, man. Like the first quarter, they were running the ball, throwing the ball, just going up and down the field. Went for it on 4th down, their first drive, I believe. Like they were not afraid of the defense at all. And then, go up 6-0. They missed ended up going up 12-0 and missed 2 extra points. And I mean, how did you feel right then and there? No hope, right?
Well, the missing of the the 2 extra points, and it's almost like, all right, the math kind of could be fun here to work out if things go a certain way. But the 4th down pickup, they were on 2 straight possessions going back to last week, where I guess that's 9 straight possessions in which they allowed points. I mean, you're talking like generational failure here. The Super Bowl era, no team has allowed a point on 7 total possessions, all the possessions from week 1 against the Colts. And you really wish they would have come on out and punched the team in the mouth. And they didn't, especially in the first quarter. And even when they were kind of coming on back, Ramondre Stevenson to me looked like he was some sort of reincarnation of Marshall Faulk. It was unbelievable. So they couldn't stop him. Drake May is a classic example of a dual threat quarterback who was beating them with the arm and at times with the legs, plural, scored a touchdown, rushed a couple of, third down and shorts or mediums to first downs. And you can't let that happen. And I feel like there was no adjustment on either side of the ball. Three sides of the ball, really, when you look at special
Yes.
teams. To tell you the truth, if you're gonna be a special teams coach, which had looked good, sorta,
Yeah.
Malik Washington returns a kick. You got to bring your crew, your coverage unit, and say, for the love of God, no matter what you do not let them return a kick. Do not flip momentum like that. So who knows what was said by Craig Arkerman, who has been doing a decent job despite the last several years of special teams ineptitude. But you end up seeing what you're seeing, and Tua on the last possession throws a pick. You can't,
Yeah.
and you had wide open Julian Hill. I know that that's not necessarily who you want, but professional football players who are wide open and have all that daylight in lieu of a very different colored jersey right in front of you, you really should have been able to put your head on the swivel. So just a lot of things that went wrong and piled up, and here we are in 0-2.
Yeah. And that defense is really bad these first two games. Like extremely bad. Probably historically bad if you really look at the numbers. Um Tua, he got saved. It should have been two picks. He got saved by a penalty. And I think on what I believe was his first throw of the game.
So yeah,
And I mean, stat wise, had a great game. If you looking at stats, but like optics, I think probably for a quarter and a half, he played really well, and that's when we were behind pretty much most of the game. So what do you think? You think this is a stepping stone for Tua, like going into Thursday night? You think Tua's gonna play like he did against the Patriots?
well, the thing about stats, and I love stats. A lot of people who follow, what I do know that I love putting up stats, but I also like to use them as some sort of not the end all be all. It's a part of the story, but it's not the entire story. And you said the word optics. You have to match the stats with the optics. And my, situation here with this game, you take Devon Achane out and his 8 catches on 10 targets and 92 yards. What are we looking at? We're looking at Tua, who threw, yes, a 47-yard completion to Tyreek Hill for their first completion in over a year of over 30 yards. But that was the longest kind of comeback route I've ever seen in my life. I mean,
That was a dud.
Baker Mayfield would have probably thrown that 4 or 5 yards further to let
Yeah,
his receiver catch it in stride and maybe blow the partial roof off of Hard Rock with a long touchdown. But, Tua's arm is not elite. Tua's
yeah,
decision making is not elite. And he is a middle of the range at best skilled quarterback. So the stats, yeah, it was absolutely great. 26 of 32, 315, 2 touchdowns, 115.5 quarterback rating. But I'd much rather a better end of the game, clearly. I would have loved for him to hit Tyreek in stride, and I would have loved for him to spread out the ball. You got a guy like a Nick Westbrook-Akine who week 1 had 1 catch at the very end. Week 2 had 2 tough plays in the
hmm
fourth quarter. There needs to be some sort of overall distribution so when people are targeting Achane and Hill, you have other people not named Jalen Waddle. I know I just named 3 players there, but that's the extreme
yeah,
vast majority of where things are going to. 23 targets spread out from those 3 players versus like 7 with the rest of the team. So,
yeah. No tight ends,
well, no
right?
tight ends. We know that obviously. Oh, there was 0 targets to tight end. But if you want to call Alec Ingold somewhat of a tight end, which he's not, he's a fullback. But you got Ingold out here running motion routes, dig routes, and it's almost like the glaring personnel problem of not solidifying the tight end position is coming back to bite them very bad.
Yeah, it's bad. It's
Very bad.
definitely bad. So I want to talk about Tua. Like, where are you at on Tua right now? Like, as far as his Dolphins tenure, and because Jason, a lot of fans are talking about it. Um, and I just want to know, like, your honest opinion about Tua. Like, his whole tenure of the Dolphins, it's been up and down. The injuries, you know, this stigma that he can't play in big games, which clutch moments he seems to fold. It seems like when any kind of play is, if the time is thrown off, or the script is thrown off, then he can't make an adjustment to make a play. So where you at on him?
Oh, since he was drafted, I don't call myself a Tua stan or a Tua near. I'm not a Tua hater. Much like with a quarterback like a Ryan Tannehill, I was a supporter. I'm hoping that he gets it all together. I'm hoping that the good outweighs the bad. In 2023, when Mike McDaniel was cooking, so to speak, as was Tua, the league was almost like, all right, what are we dealing with here? But now everyone figured that out. You put two safeties high, you take away the deep ball, you don't pretty much have any threat of a running game inside power presence. So you get to Tua's second or third read, which barely ever happens. He's a one read quarterback. And look, you got probably half the quarterbacks in the league right now can make something happen when the pocket breaks down, can extend the play, can utilize their feet. Tua is not that type of a player. Was he that type of a player in Alabama prior to the hip injury? Little bit. He definitely had it. Little bit. He definitely had the sparks of it. But, retrospectively, you know, it probably was the wrong pick. I'm not saying that Herbert should have been the guy, but you
Yeah,
got Herbert developing, you got Jordan Love developing, you got Jalen Hurts winning, and these are all different kind of circumstances and situations. But what the Dolphins did wrong was giving him the money and extending him in lieu of picking up a fifth-year option. And that, I think, is going to be a very big problem and is a problem because, look, I wasn't rooting for it as much as and everyone saw it coming. Like, from the
yeah,
rumors and the news out there, he was going to get his money. So what I was doing was saying, all right, let's look at contracts like Goff, like Lawrence. This is a kind of copycat league. And when quarterbacks sign contracts, quarterbacks who don't have the contract, their agents are going to get busy and make sure they get those kind of contracts. That's their job. So did I think he should be paid amongst those peers? Yeah, in a technical situation, okay. But if the Dolphins would have come out and said, you know what, we're picking up the fifth year. If you want more, go out there and have another 17 or 16 game full season, essentially. And let's see you do it when it matters. And that didn't happen. So here we are now. And I'm not saying we're going to throw the towel in officially, but I'm holding it. Like, if you remember Rocky IV, I know everyone loves my movie references. Sylvester Stallone standing out there holding the towel. He didn't
the
throw it.
best.
He didn't throw it. You gotta think about maybe throwing it if there's one or two more problems.
Yeah, man. I mean, year 6, this is enough. You haven't really done anything. You haven't. We don't beat good teams, and we don't win. We literally don't win because of Tua. I feel like, yeah, he'll have good games, but you're not winning because of Tua. You're winning because of the team in general. Our defense was a top 5 defense last year, and when you got that, and then offense that can score, which last year really wasn't. And that 2023 season was the peak, I feel like, and now we're on the downside of that, um, for sure. And then the running game, man, I believe we had 61 rushing yards. Ollie Gordon only gets 1 carry,
For 8.
down one from from last week, but he did get a reception for 5 yards. I mean, What are we doing? We just gonna run Achane? Achane was 11 for 30. Like, what are we doing, man?
You know
You
what?
give Ollie Gordon 10 carries at least, right?
That's what I was hoping. And you know what? He had look, preseason is the preseason. And I know that second stringers playing against second stringers, sometimes third stringers, what have you. But to me, Ollie Gordon, I have yet to see go down on a first hit. So NFL players have yet to bring him down on a first contact. And he's proven that on the 3, 4 touches that he's had professionally in the regular season so far. And this is a guy who, if you just by simple math, if he sticks to that 4.5 ish yards per carry, you give him 8 to 10 carries. You spell Achan where you keep that ability on the outside, where he's strong in the reception game, which he's phenomenal. Look, he's probably the best back Achan up there with Alvin Kamara as a
Yeah.
pass receiving running back. But the last thing you need is his. It's not like he's bad at running between the tackles. I'm not saying that, but
No.
give that
He's
to
just
a guy.
small.
Right. He's a small guy, and you don't want to get him hurt on that kind of carry. You want to get a guy like an Ollie Gordon, who is a Doak Walker Award winner. Look at the past Doak Walker Award winners. You know, Jonathan
Yeah.
Taylor, Bijan Robinson. You know, these are running backs. These are workhorse kind of caliber running back. And when you're not giving him opportunity, and Mike McDaniel is saying, you know, basically the responsibilities he has to earn and learn, everything that I've seen from Ollie Gordon on the field, he's done well. You know, and I know that he could pass protect. We've seen that in Oklahoma State. So I don't know what he's worried about from that regard. To tell you the truth, I thought he should have been on the field on the last play and at least pick up some guy on an interior rush or a blitz. You know, Tua's by himself, you know, and you don't even have a guy who could help pick up a man. But anyway, you know, it's not the proper
Playing with 3 offensive linemen pretty much.
right. You know, it's not the right formula. And look, a lot of this has to do with the offensive line. You know, we thought that James Daniels, you know, would help. Obviously, he hurt himself. And I'm not saying he's injury prone. It was a different injury than what he was recovering from last year, Achilles from last year, pectoral now. But Jonas Savaianaya is not grading out as a very good interior
Oh
lineman right
boy.
now. And that's a big time problem.
Worst in the league, right?
Worst in the league. And now I hate to say this name, but he's now joining a conversation of another lineman that they traded up for in the second round. I'm not going to say the name. It's like Beetlejuice. I can't say the name 3 times. He might, you know,
LE. We'll say the initials.
LE, exactly, LE. But the fact is, if you trade up and you get yourself out of 2 other rounds, essentially, when you have 2 huge glaring needs, let's just call it cornerback and safety, or even cornerback, let's just say defensive back and tight end. You know, look at what was had. You know, look at what was had in the past few drafts at these positions that Chris Greer just said, you know what? We got guys that we like. Day 3, we're not worried about it. You guys are a lot more worried about it. The third round in this particular draft had nearly 10 cornerbacks selected. And then there was a drop off. And look, I'm a fan of Jason Marshall Jr., but he hasn't been playing fantastic either. So you're not just looking at the draft pick in Jonah. You're looking at who you didn't have the opportunity to pick because of the capital that you had to trade to go up and get him. And if you again, if you're going to go up and get a lineman, that dude better be
a monster.
Somewhat,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, if you're going to not just invest a pick, top 40 pick, you're saying goodbye to other top 100 picks. So right now, as my
You saying should be a sure thing.
as close. I mean, look, if you're in the top 40, that's an extension of the first round in my mind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference between 33 and 38? You know,
Yeah.
Basically a top tier pick. Top 50 should be.
Mm-hmm.
We're not even thinking about this. When you get into 100, 140, 210, a little bit more
projects.
of a dice roll. Correct. But
yeah.
Look at the projects that Chris Greer has invested in top 50 picks. And that goes back to Austin Jackson, youngest player in the draft, or the second youngest player in the draft. You know who the youngest player in the draft was? Noah Igbenogany. You know, so these were massive misses, and these repetitive mistakes are happening. Draft in, draft out, and we're seeing it on the field. And it's not fair to put it all on a kid like Jonah because you're playing two linemen down, what have you, but it's not looking like that was a great pick.
Yeah, on paper, you would say, man, Chris Greer had a great draft. He addressed the trenches, which is what a lot of Dolphin fans been, asking for a long time. Like, let's get these trenches fixed, and then we can have a good team. But all that flash, it doesn't do anything for you in December and January, and it hasn't for us. Like, obviously, injuries. Like, if you firing everybody, maybe after the Bills game, because I don't believe we're gonna even get close to winning this game. Um, if you fire everybody, you clean house, right? Like, everybody's gone completely. Weaver, everybody, right? Once the season's over, obviously, you're gonna
Oh,
need a coaching staff, obviously.
well, once the season's over, you're going to have to, and like the Chris Greer scenario is interesting because there's a lot of skeletons in the closet that he could
Yeah,
Pandora's box if he gets let go and kicked out of
which
the
is
building.
why it probably won't happen.
Correct. Now, I think he will stay in the building, but I don't
Mhm.
necessarily think that he's going to be in charge of personnel of the GM, which means that if you're going to bring in a brand new GM, they're going to have an extreme emptiness below them, and they're going to have to stock their cabinet the way they want. Scouting department, coaches, coordinators, assistants, trainers, water boys, seriously, everything. And
Trainers, please.
trainer, I mean, look, if you're looking at why Dolphin reports and injury reports are so much longer than everyone else, I don't want to hear that because it's South Florida, it's hot, muscle, soft tissue. You need, if you're going to invest, don't invest on the equipment and slides in the room. Invest in people who are the best in the business at keeping people healthy. You know what I mean? Like,
Ping
I
pong
don't,
tables.
right. I mean, it's fun to give your players, all these luxuries, but you should literally be hiring the best in the business. And if you have to pay someone 2x the norm to keep your investments healthy, I mean, we're talking about a man who has more money than five gods in Stephen Ross.
Yeah.
Pay people properly and use that money properly. And that's a whole other subject to begin with.
Yeah. No ping pong tape. No, nothing really fun if I'm the coach. Till you win a playoff game, which we haven't in 25 years. About to be, man, come on, man. That's ridiculous, man. But all right. So Weaver, you good with? You think he
No,
gonna figure it out?
I would hope that he figures it out, but we're all coming into here saying the front seven is going to be phenomenal. You got Chop Robinson with finally Chubb and Jalen Phillips, and to me, Jalen Phillips, as much as he was progressing before the injuries, I don't see it. I don't see 2003 prior to that Achilles.
You
Jalen
think that's a
Phillips.
scheme thing though, or that's
Maybe.
just
I mean, maybe. I mean, I Bradley Chubb is doing well so far, you know?
yeah,
So I haven't seen the benefit yet of those three together and getting creative. Let's move Chop around. Let's put him over the nose. Let's put him somewhere where the other two guys could wreak havoc on the outside, and Chop could kind of freelance. Not freelance is the bad word, but be a little bad word, but versatile. Robinson is a guy who people were saying little bit shades of Micah Parsons. But
yep.
I haven't seen any creativity. They really should be playing more man than zone. They're getting picked
Mhm.
apart, and you expect Weaver to adjust, and it's almost like he's becoming, to me, the defensive version of what Adam Gase was offensively, where it's just you're kind of cowering in the corner on a little iPad. There was a shot of Weaver just on this little Microsoft book, just looking. I just don't see any of the adjustments happening, any of the
Brain
fumbling.
racing, can't
Right.
figure it out.
Right. It's almost like we're seeing the panic unfold. And I'm upset. I'm very disappointed because I thought that Weaver and the defense was going to be a reason why teams were going to struggle against the Dolphins, not have the best success.
Yes.
58% third down conversions against the Patriots. I mean, come on. Got to get off the field.
Drake May only had 4 incompletions. It's wild. This is a second-year guy who we beat last year. So
And Mays, listen,
Tua was
Mays decent. Like, I'm not saying he's a
yeah.
bad
No,
quarterback,
he's good.
but
He'll be good.
when you turn a decent guy who could run and throw into the righty version of Steve Young, big time problem. Big time.
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones looked like he was a Hall of Fame quarterback just doing his normal business against the Dolphins. And that's not the case, folks. But credit to the culture 2-0. That's all. I'll give credit where credit is due. And they're riding on a little bit of different kind of momentum right now with what happened.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, you lose your owner in Irsay. His daughters are coming on here. But
Yeah. Dolphins give him a big confidence boost week 1.
And Lou Amarulo, an ex-Dolphins defensive coordinator, is who constructed that domination defensively, and it's just, but Daniel Jones was made to look vastly superior than his skill sets provide. And Drake May, we give an AFC East young quarterback that adrenaline, that confidence, that momentum, where he might plague us for a couple of years out right now.
Yeah. Mike McDaniel said today, he said that the team is still together. He doesn't see any, he doesn't see anyone that he doesn't see that he lost anyone in the locker room. That's what he said today.
Oh.
He said he watches that. He's like, oh, I pay attention to reactions and so on. And it was a bunch of ums and uhs throughout that. I don't think there was one sentence that he got through. He probably said it at least 20 times. And I was like, bro, come on, bro. This is our head coach. But yeah, do you feel like he's lost the locker room at this point?
I'm taking the words out of a lot of former players who are now in the media. When you're holding a players only meeting week 1, you have lost the locker room. I mean, how are you not wanting to communicate what's being said, players only, to a head coach who's on year 4? And now the problem with that is those are his first years as a head coach. It's not like he had experience as a head coach or even a coordinator. This is a run game specialist and a play designer specialist who has not, prior to Miami, led a group of men. And I think that when you're holding that kind of players only meeting, the writing's on the wall. It's there. And the only thing that could fix that is a coach saying, all right, I see you guys are having a players only meeting. I'm going to make sure we are fully prepared. It's on me. We're going to go in, hold home field, get this W, and let's put that behind us. He didn't put that behind. It's the same old with McDaniel. And he's advertised as a brilliant, smart guy. And I'm not hearing it in the press conferences. He's word salads. He's umming and on and really almost answering questions borderline obnoxiously, I mean? And it's not a good
look. Arrogant too. A little arrogant. And there's no reason to have that arrogance. And I'll tell you, when they got, and you have a coach like Mike Vrabel, who is the opposite of McDaniel in every way, shape, or form. Did anyone in the building think that Mac Hollins was going to open up the scoring, a former Dolphin? I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Vrabel said, all right, Mac, we get into the inside the 10, you're going to be the guy. It's going to you. No one saw that coming. And Mac, he looked right at the Dolphin fans and pointed, and you knew let him have it.
That he was letting them have it, because that's a guy who you should have retained too because of the special team prowess. But that's another thing altogether. So Vrabel is the kind of coach that players are going to get behind. You try to have a players only coach against Mike Vrabel, the man's freaking breaking down the wall, not allowing that to happen. It won't even get to that point. This is a coach of the year former. So
Vrabel's a leader of men.
That's
He's a tough son of a bitch.
Yes, he is. 6'4" linebacker from the dynasty era of the Patriots, getting into fights during preseason, running up the side, running with Antonio Gibson following him on a play to score.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the kind of guy you really want leading your team, not Mike McDaniel, who is basically stapled into the ground, just looking at his notebook, not getting fiery, not getting his players
Yeah. It
motivated.
don't really seem like any emotion unless, a bad play happens and he's rolling his eyes or something. That's all. That's the most emotion you see from him on
It's
the
tough.
sideline.
It's tough.
Yeah. So going into the Bills game, by the way, once we had that players only meeting, I said, "Oh yeah, season's over. Season's over. Week 1. This is what we doing. This is what we doing." It's crazy.
I mean, week one, the players only meeting. It's way too quick out of the gates for that. It's happened
Start
before. Week 9, week 14, but week one, oof,
start planning your vacations, boys.
pretty much
It's
it.
about to get ugly. Speaking of about to get ugly, so Bills, oh, this one could get ugly real quick, and their defense, against the Ravens didn't look so well, but that's the Ravens.
Right.
So yesterday against the Jets, only allowed 10 points. Um, I'm scared to like even give a prediction, but I think Josh Allen's about to be running wild on us. You know what I'm saying, brother? And
I
I think they're
agree.
gonna do whatever they want.
I agree wholeheartedly. And you're going to go up into Western New York to a team and to a fan base who would like nothing more than to put the final nail or one of those final nails into the coffin of this regime. And they could do
Mhm.
it. I mean, look, you're on a short week. The Dolphins have 9 players listed on their like estimated mock practice report. They didn't have like a full practice, but you got guys popping up. Malik Washington's got a thumb injury. Obviously, you saw what happened with Chop Robinson in the knee. Who knows if he's going to be available?
Melifanu.
Melifanu, Bonner's still out. You're also IR'd 3 more games for Daniels and Jackson. So you're going to Buffalo hobbled 0-2. They're 2-0 with the ability to really put a stranglehold on the Dolphins, but gain ground on 2-1-1. Yeah, what is it? The Jets 0-2? The Jets 0-2 or 1-1? I forget. They're
Jets
they're
are 0-2. Yeah,
I'm sorry,
they
they're all
lost to the Steelers.
They lost to the Steelers. So you don't really have a fear of the Patriots if you're the Bills, but you could essentially put a huge nail in another franchise in consecutive weeks in your division. And I think that if it's like a 42-6, he could drop a 50 burger on us. It could be 50-9.
Oh,
You know, this this could be it, because if you do have to make a move, and I know it's been rare that Ross would do that so early in the season. He got rid of Sperano, he got rid of Philbin, but Philbin was, I think, a week 4 fire. Sperano much later in the
yeah,
year. But look, you can't do it now because it's 3 days until you play the team. But then if you can give whatever interim, those 10 days to prepare, 11 days even, because it's a Monday night game week 4,
yeah.
they get destroyed, you really might have to make a change, because I cannot see any competitive football being played in a hostile environment. And man, oh man, I fear for Tua. I truly do. I truly do.
Yeah, it could be bad. I mean, it probably will be bad.
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're scoring at least 40 on us, and I think we'll probably get to 20, but it'll probably be garbage time touchdowns. They're
Take,
gonna attack
take the
too.
over better. Take the over.
Yeah,
Just take.
they're gonna attack Tua because they know he only has 3 people really on 3 offensive linemen because the right side's wide open every single play. Watch, and they're gonna, bro. They take pleasure in beating us. They're gonna love. They're about to feast. That's how I feel. I mean, oof. It could. This could be, yeah. This definitely could be Mike McDaniel's last game if he's standing there on the sideline just then like you said, the writing's on the wall already. It's not even like if they're gonna fire him now, it's when. That's pretty much. for the rest of the season. And I say you don't do it until after the Spain game, because by then we probably should have locked up that number one pick. We'll get a couple wins with the new coach, if that, and then we'll go into next year with a bunch of draft capital ready to go
It's not a
to
bad thought
try to
process.
fix this team.
It's not a bad thought process at all, because at some point, if you have this kind of lame duck coach, you might just want to grind him out and get whatever's worth from him with that trip to Spain, and then
You're gonna pay him anyway.
right. You're going to be 1-9 after that Spain game, maybe whatever it is, 2-8, whatever the math is. But yeah, man, this is not setting up well for McDaniel. And if he has any pride in his job or in his future as a head coach, here's what you should do. You should change it up entirely. You should give Ollie Gordon plenty of runs. Be creative.
Stop calling plays.
Listen, I'll tell you, man. A couple of years, 2000, was it late last year or 2 years ago? Someone suggested that he should give up the play calling, and I kind of agreed. And there's a lot of venom that got spit our way. Are you kidding?
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do? McDaniel, stop. That's what he's best at. He's actually best at designing plays, but it's the time, the location, and the personnel in which he's utilizing those plays, which are all off. All off. It's part and parcel of all his inabilities of doing multiple tasks as a head coach. So delegation has been a problem. Who's the guy working the challenge flags or telling him when to not do that? Is there someone who does that? So when it comes to play calling, it would actually be a really good thing if he announced, you know what, I'm going to give Frank Smith the play calling. I'm going to see what he could do, because, hey, listen, if you lose to the Bills and someone else is calling the plays and it's 27-24 and maybe the defense loses it or what have you, then maybe you have something cooking to go into the next 3 or 4 games with that play caller, new play caller. And if they could salvage to get to 500, you might save people's careers and jobs, and you never know in the NFL. But that's, we're talking about 1% chance. And I don't see him giving up those duties. And it's just not working. And if you're going to keep on doing things that aren't working over and over again, that is the definition of insanity right there.
If the Dolphins fire Mike McDaniel, who do you see as the best fit to be the interim coach for the season? And do you think Tua will regress even more?
Well, this is a slippery slope that Tua is on. So to first answer that, unless he comes out as an absolute different kind of player than what we've seen, not making the same mistakes, the mental errors, if he's getting himself out of the pocket, picking up smart plays and getting out of bounds, sliding if he needs to, working
in the pocket. When he gets out of the pocket, he panics, and that's when he throws the
That's what I'm saying.
interception.
That's what I'm saying. If he's changing that up and all of a sudden he's becoming this, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen type, it's not going to happen. You don't want that. So I think it's still a slippery slope for Tua. I truly do. And I'm not going to give a name for who I want as an interim coach, because I have no clue, to be honest with you. I mean, if this was last year and you're asking me who you would want, it would have been Weaver. But right now, you can't award that who's been running an inept unit. Is it going to be a Bevel? Is it going to be a Smith? I don't know. I don't know if Craig Alkerman.
Sammy says Embry could be
Embry's the
an option.
Coach, so that's not a bad idea. I mean, that's, if you're looking at the org chart, that might make sense to just elevate Embry. And ironically, his specialty is tight ends. He comes from San Francisco, and he had George Kittle. So how could you not give him some sort of a? Listen, there's not many George Kittles out
there. Darren Waller, bro. What are you talking about?
But if to go back to that, and this is back to Greer, the Jonnu Smith situation was probably brewing before it hit media, before it hit Twitter. So if it was brewing back in April to not draft a tight end, that's one thing. But then when you have a guy like a Noah Fant, who is doing pretty well so far in Cincinnati, and you nickel and dime him, that's something you should have overpaid. Like, to tell you the honest goodness truth, if they sign Noah Fant and we're looking at the contract or the numbers and being like, it's a lot of money. Well, you know what? You get what you pay for.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And you elect to not pay capital monetarily or draft pick wise for a better tight end. So you have to dip into the retirement pool. And that's what you got with Darren Waller. And I don't know how you could injure a hip in retirement.
Oh,
He's been dealing with a hip injury since they brought him in. And the over under of games for Darren Waller this year is 0.5, and I'm leaning towards the under. Ridiculous.
he's going back to retirement. Get that
Oh,
money, man. That's it. Hey, this won't be the first time the Dolphins got played.
oh my God.
So,
I mean, there's a Mount Rushmore of ineptitude. And right now it's Odell Beckham Jr., Will Fuller, and Darren Waller. And we'll probably see a fourth on there soon, unless I'm missing
oh,
anybody. Byron Jones, you could put on up there, but at least he had a
ooh,
year.
at
At least
least
he
he
had
actually had a bad injury too.
well, he had a bad injury, absolutely, and at least when Brian Flores was running the show there, that was what he wanted. He wanted two outstanding on paper cornerbacks, and it just didn't work out. And you got a guy who basically checked out after an
Yeah,
injury, sure, but goodbye.
yeah. Then you see it. Then he come out with like a whole little story about
Oh yeah,
how the Dolphins handled it. Boy, we don't know how to stay away from drama. This team, it's just so bad, so bad. But yeah, man. All right, yeah. So you got any predictions? I'm at 40 to 20, 40. I'm gonna say 42 to let's go 45. They'll get a field goal too.
yeah. Listen,
45, 45 to 20.
you're a couple of points
Bills.
more generous for the Dolphins end, but I hear you with what you're saying in garbage time. But this is going to be a multiple touchdown beatdown, and
Mhm.
if it's a close game, you know what's going to happen.
Oh yeah.
You know what's going to happen. A 65-yard field goal is going to be hit by the Bills. Dolphins are going to have a chance to maybe win. They'll miss it, a penalty, what have you. I don't see it getting anywhere
Turnover.
close. Turnover, of course. So I'll say I like your 45 number. I'll say 45 to 13.
Ass whooping. Whoo.
Oh
All
yeah,
right. All right. We'll be watching and mourning at the same time for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna let you get out of here, man. I know you got you got a show at 7. So I appreciate you coming on, man. I love talking Dolphin football with you, man. So
likewise, sir. This was a pleasure. Listen. Keep doing your thing, man. Across the board, wrestling, everything. Love
oh
what
yeah,
you do, and you're a great person to boot. So that's to me,
yeah.
that's top tier in my book.
Same, bro. I feel the same way about you, man. All right, man. Enjoy the show and enjoy some football tonight if you're watching. All
Doubleheader.
right.
We have four teams that are playing better than the Dolphins right now. We enjoy and kind of
Don't
play
you
some
just
solid.
love watching good football?
Yes and no. I was watching that Ravens and Bills game, and I'm like, this is great. It's
Oh,
like,
that
oh,
was an amazing game,
that was
actually,
unbelievable.
for sure. Football, man. We'll get there one day, Jason.
We were listen. Lastly, there was a time that I actually loved when the Dolphins were down 3, 4, 5, 6 points because Dan Marino would come in, lick those hands, and be like, "Let's go, boys."
Mhm.
We ain't there, folks. We ain't there.
No, we far from it too.
Those days are gone.
All right, man. Have a good show. I'll probably, I'll probably be in the chat.
Yeah,
All
join
right.
on.
And in the great words of Jackie Moon, everybody love everybody, man. Goodbye.